Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Each one of you is welcomed. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, both world and Nirvana, are two approaches or attitudes to life and living. What is world? World means you are, your consciousness is engaged, your freedom is lost, you are within certain boundaries. A bird in the cage can only flap its wings in that space. You are in a prison cell. You can only move within that area. You don't have freedom like the bird that is soaring high in the sky. Your many bondages are there. Bondages, they may be like a golden cage, the bondage of religion, caste, creed, identity, intellect, memories. These are all limitations and do not allow to soar high in the sky. This is the state of world. And Nirvana is that liberated state of consciousness. You are not for any reason within the four walls of your room. You are free like a bird to soar under this blue sky. You can feel the breeze. You can feel the warmth of the sun. Everything, you can flap your wings. You can move freely in anything. These are two attitudes or approaches to living, or just your choices. You can decide to live within your room and never come out of that room, narrow understanding, or you can be free to soar high in the sky. You can choose either of the two. You can be in the world because of a certain attitude, and the same world can become liberated state of consciousness or nirvana or absolute bliss just by changing your attitude or approach. You remain the same. What is the difference between you within the four walls of your room, prison wall, or you are under the open sky, running on the seashore, running on the open space, trying to catch the birds? You remain the same. Nothing changes. You can live in the world and be not of the world, and the world is not in you. You are free. You know that you have to perform these roles as husband, as wife, as the employee, employer, or whatever role. You can take these as limitations, you can take it as part of your acting, because these are the roles you have been given. You have given a certain role to perform on the stage of life, or you can remain engrossed in it. A change of choice is required, change of approach. It is easy. You are living in a consciousness which is bound by limitations. It has no freedom. And that time you do not witness the freedom. You do not witness, experience the openness. And a Buddha, on the other hand, he is in the world, but the world is not within him. World is not within him. He is sitting, somehow the body is weakened. There is no energy. He is somehow holding on to the tree, leaning from the other side of the river Niranjana. And he keeps on watching the stars disappear in the sky, one by one. Somehow he gathers the courage, gathers the strength, energy to come out of the river, makes a bed of leaves and sits under the Bodhi tree. His finite consciousness got the wings and it started soaring. When he was in the river Niranjana, trying to stay there, suddenly his freedom got, something happened to him. The consciousness that was in bondages got freed from the limitations, and he experienced the vastness of the consciousness. He came out, sat under the Bodhi tree. In the certain moments of meditation, you experience like a déjà vu, that which is. And this, what he witnessed at that moment, was tremendous. Then, once absolute bliss is attained, you will laugh about it. How I was missing this all these years. Once it is known, you will not be able to understand why you were missing it. And how could you miss it? Such the vastness of the sky, the freedom of the birds soaring in the sky. It was there always, just waiting to be looked at. It was always yours. But you have created so many barriers, limitations around you of identity, religion, your memories, and so many other things. A Buddha laughs. Anyone who achieves it laughs because the whole thing seems to be ridiculous. It has been experienced by those who have attained to this state. First they laugh and then tears begin to flow, they cry. Two things simultaneously happen. One, because this was all around me, it was within my reach, and how I was missing it. You begin to laugh. Then suddenly laugh changes to lament in because of my understanding, narrowness, I have been missing it all the time. This was available to me always. It was within my reach. Just my approach or attitude was different. I have been missing it for all these years. And anytime I wanted to look at it, wanted to be in that company, association, I could have been. Then lament comes in. Anyone who achieves it, these two things happen to him. Because he laughs, because the whole thing seems to be ridiculous. You were searching for everything far and wide, but something you were searching that you never lost. Have you ever observed a situation that you are looking for your glasses? You're looking all about your glasses. Then a little child says, you ask, have you seen my glasses? He said, yes. Where it is? Go and look into the mirror. And when you look into the mirror, you realize that the glasses you already have on and you have been searching for it frantically, here and there, and you was not finding it because it was so close to you that you was missing it, and you was looking for the glasses far and wide in every corner of the house, but you had it on all the time. The whole effort is absurd. And this is what you have been doing all your life. But it happens only when you have achieved it. When you have seen your face in the mirror, that you already have the glasses on, only then you realize this. That was I a fool looking for it all about, and it was right there next door? Those who have achieved it, they say it is very simple. It's just a matter of looking for it. But those who have not achieved it, it is the most arduous thing, most difficult, really not simply difficult, but almost impossible to find my glasses. I searched whole day, 2 days, everywhere, and I could not find it. Then an innocent child suddenly make me aware that I had the glasses on and was searching for it all about. This is so these methods, when it's Shiva, spirituality, inner development or transformation, is as simple as 1, 2, 3, not difficult in any way. But we have made it very difficult because simple things do not appeal to ego. If something is so easily available, then ego is not satiated. Remember this. These techniques of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra or the ways of the master. For example, the electricity is generated in a mechanical way, and then mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. It is stored and then it is distributed. Faraday discovered this on transformer and all these things. But your body has a transformer already. Your solar plexus is the generator, as well as it acts as a transformer also. Through breathing exercise, it generates, through the mechanical process, it generates the energy, then transforms it into a form that it can flow throughout the entire body. Different psychocenters, different energy centers, which need to be activated in order for your vehicle, the body, to run efficiently. If the current that is generated in your battery does not go to the transformer that transforms the mechanical energy into electrical energy, it will not activate. The vehicle, all the lighting system, the accelerator, the brakes, the power steering, nothing will activate. So it activates all the centers which make the vehicle move. If it is not, then vehicle will be going in jerks. And that is what is happening to human life. Simple technique of breathing, hammering the solar plexus, but it is there in almost all the systems, but it has not been pointed out. When you use the word zikr, Allahu, we give importance on Allah. Allah is more important than who. It is the who that hammers the solar plexus, activates it. It starts the movement in that. And in that movement, a vacuum is created. And because of that vacuum, the energy is pulled from the lower centers, the earth center and the water center. The centers where the energy is, the existential bioenergy is stored in the earth center or Mooladhara, which is at the base of coccyx. So from there it has to be pulled. You cannot push it, it has to be pulled. So when a vacuum is created, you have seen simply a dropper in a bottle. If you want to take out something, you press it to create a vacuum, and the moment you create the vacuum, you release the pressure, it automatically pulls into the dropper tube. This is a mechanical process. When it reaches there, then you can use it for your purposes, various purposes. So the vacuum is created. It pulls the energy in a mechanical way. Then it transforms it into electrical energy and distributes in all the 7 energy centers which are. So what happens? First, energy is pulled from that center. It is converted into the electrical energy. Now in this case, existential bioenergy, which was of the nature of passion, becomes passion. Hindi word is vasana. It converts and becomes upasana, the prayer, the lovingness. Or from passion to compassion, it reaches the heart center. Then the command center commands it to be distributed throughout the entire body through the nerves and the system. Process of transformation begins. Technique is simple. All you have done, but you were never told that the focus should be why you are asked to do this zikr. Allahu. Why are you doing it? To create a vacuum in the solar plexus. And 2 inches below is a place that is in Chinese martial art is known as dantian, lower dantian. That, and in Japanese it is known as hara. So it is very simple, but we are not interested in simple things. If something, a dish is created very simply, you find it is not valuable. You cannot command a price for it. In order to make it priceless, you have to make it more complicated so that no one else can create that dish and you can command your monopoly over it, that only you can make this particular dish in such a way. That is a deception. Your mind will tell you these simple methods cannot be of any help, and that they are so simple that nothing can be achieved through these. To achieve divinity or divine existence, to achieve the absolute and the ultimate, how can these simple methods be useful? How can they be of any help? Just hammering the solar plexus, you can hammer it through breathing, or you can use the certain words. The way you are speaking, they are spoken from the labial sound. Sanskrit language is very versatile. It teaches you how the words are. There is a particular novel and written in Sanskrit language. It's a play. There is a character, a king, he is a warrior. An arrow is shot, and with that his top lip is cut off. There are certain sounds which are created through the lips movement. There are certain which is labial movement. There are certain sound which comes from the throat. So sounds like pa. You just watch your lips movement. Pa, fa. These are the sounds which are created from the lips movement, labial movement. If your top lip is cut off, the air that's supposed to remain within to create that sound is released. You cannot say, you cannot keep your mouth open and say pa. The two lips must touch one another to create this sound pa, fa, fa. The movement of the lips is different. Pa, inward, fa, outward opens. So it has an effect. And after that, the play continues, but the author does not make the poet, make the character, use these two syllables, use these two letters, p and f. Entire play does not use that. So when you are told it is the important on the part of the master to explain, so that when there is an understanding and you are using it, it is not a matter of mere trust. It is a matter of trust and understanding. When these two are combined together, the results are miraculous. Results are miraculous. You know the mechanism. Where does this particular sound hammers in the body? And what is the purpose of this sound to hammer? You can take any instrument and hammer it. But when there is a natural way of hammering a particular energy center through a sound movement, that's why music is very versatile. Music creates that kind of effect onto various psychocenters, energy centers. So all these come within the framework, within the area, within the field of quantum approach to transformation. Quantum approach to transformation. It is not, you have to understand the principle, why the concept of quantum was introduced in physics, why quantum mechanics came into. Energy moves into increments. How you put the water to boil. You want the water to boil. So this is what you have to achieve. The water has to boil. When you put the water in a pot on the fire, the heat is transferred to the water. Process of convection begins. The molecules from below, when it is cold, as the heat reaches them, they start moving. And then they reach on top. Then the circuit is completed. And again, the next molecule, it reaches on top. The process of convection begins. It is like a relay race. To win the relay race, there is a baton, and there are four participants in each team. One starts, carries the baton, and hands over the baton to the next participant, next player, next runner. The runner is already ready to take a leap, but without the baton he cannot move. So he is putting his hand at the back, and eyes are focused in front to take a leap, a run. Then he goes to his role is finished. This is convection. But we never look at it this way, that a relay race is an act of convection. And then in increments, the energy is working through the water molecules. It is the molecule in the form of bubbles. If you put the water to boil in a clear glass container, you can see the molecules is moving in an elliptical orbit, and the relay race is completed. One molecule hands over the baton to the next molecule, reaches, its role is finished for that moment. Then the second, and so it is incremental. and all of a sudden you see the water begins to boil. That is the quantum leap. Energy is suddenly moving from one point, one cycles. First, it is generated through the generator mechanically, then mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. Electrical energy is stored, then it is distributed at the command of the sales system, distribution system. You have a warehouse, you are doing the business, so everything is stored in the warehouse. But warehouse does not control the distribution. Distribution is controlled by the distribution system or the sales office. Sales office makes the bills, makes the invoices, and when all the invoices are made, then goes to the warehouse. The warehouse section takes out the required or completes the orders, and it goes for the distribution. So the command center, which is your third eye center, it commands and controls the entire process of distribution of the energy that has been accumulated, is stored in the warehouse. Solar plexus is this storehouse from where the distribution takes place at the command of the sales office, the office of distribution. This is what the quantum approach to transformation of human consciousness is. A quantum approach to transformation of human consciousness is, you may find it very difficult, but it is the understanding, it is the knowing that makes it so simple that you may have wondered how this approach of quantum physics or quantum mechanics can be applied into the field of transformation. It has never happened. It is to make it easy to understand. Because the master has said, I have no idea about it, I cannot comment anything about it. When it is explained, it is so simple, isn't it? Doesn't it appear to be so simple how the transformation takes place? It gives you new avenue. It adds a new dimension to your understanding, your way of thinking, the way of looking at the things. Expansion of consciousness. If in the company of the awakened one it does not happen to you, then that company is not worth. So the mind will find always such a simple thing. If I said quantum mechanics, it is very, quantum mechanics, that's something really very good. But when it is so simple, again the mind comes to play. If it is so simple, how it could help in that? But this is the way of explanation. Your mind will tell you these methods cannot be of any help because they are so simple. They cannot achieve anything, achieve divinity, divine existence, and this is how you can explain the presence of God's omnipresence, omnipotent and omniscient. Every part of your body, the electric current moves. It is that current, you can call it the existential bioenergy, you can call it electrical energy, you can call it consciousness, you can call it breath. The doctors will tell you that the pulse can be felt at any part of the body because the entire body, through all the nerve system, it is when blood moves, flows through the nerves, blood is mixed with oxygen. and oxygen mixed with blood reaches to each part of your body. You can feel the pulse in any part of the body if you are sensitive enough to know. Remember, another thing, ego is always interested. Ego comes to play an important role. Ego is always interested in something which is difficult. Because when something is difficult, there comes a challenge. Ego feels very good that I have done something that nobody has done it. I have achieved a great feat. If you can overcome the difficulty, your ego will feel fulfilled. I have done this. No one has done it before me. The ego is never attracted towards anything which is simple. Never. If you want to give your ego a challenge, then you have to have something difficult devised for it. So sometimes the master tells you, go this way and that way, and then you're all right. It was very difficult to reach to that place. But finally, I searched and searched, and then I found that I reached there. It was so much in such a remote corner that for ordinary person it would have not been easy to reach to that destination. So ego feels fulfilled. In the first place, there was nothing to be conquered, and things were so simple. Ego asks for difficulties, some hurdles to be crossed, some peaks to be conquered. And the more difficult the peaks are, the more at ease your ego feels. Because these techniques are so simple that they will not appeal to the mind. Simple thing, when a sneeze comes in, be aware what that has to do with that. When I say these techniques are simple, there are many things incorporated in it. I mean many things. First, a spiritual explosion. A spiritual explosion is not caused by anything. It is not a causal phenomenon. If it was caused by something, then time would be needed. Because time is necessary for cause to take place. Cause and effect. And if time is needed, then it cannot be the case. It can happen. If time is needed, that means it cannot happen this moment. Then you will have to wait for tomorrow for something to happen. If you are ready, it can happen this very moment. If time is needed, then you will have to wait for tomorrow or for another life. The next moment will be needed. If anything is causal, then cause has to take place first, and then the cause, when cause has happened, as an effect it will happen. The cause will be followed by the effect. And you cannot produce the effect right now, because cause, a seed is planted, it causes as an effect, the tree blossoms. It takes time. Without the cause, the And without time gap, the effect cannot happen. But a spiritual happening is not a causal phenomenon. You are already in that state. Just a remembering is needed. Do you have to discover that you are a man? Just a remembrance, something you have forgotten. And it is not a causal phenomenon. It is just like this. In the morning, somebody has suddenly awakened you from a deep sleep, and you cannot recognize where you are. For a moment, you may not recognize who you are. In a sudden awakening from a deep sleep, you may not be able to recognize where you are. Sometimes it does happen. You may not be able to recognize the place and the time. But within a moment, you recognize the place, you recognize the time. The more means you become alert. The more alert you become, it will be easier for you to recognize who you are, where you are, what has happened. In a state of anesthesia, after the effect. So you are in a state of anesthesia, a self-imposed anesthesia. When you come out, you get something stupid like, what is the time, where are you, who you are? This is not a causal thing, just a question of alertness. With a growing alertness, you will recognize this, that I was right there. I was the same person, just I have slept. Like if you have slept for, there is the stories, Cinderella story, not Cinderella, some other story, that out of curse a princess went to sleep, for it was cursed that she will sleep for such a long time. Then a prince will come, and the moment the prince will kiss the queen, the princess, she will awake from the slumber. So it happened around that palace. The weeds grew, the tall trees, and it was completely covered by the plants, and so everybody forgot. Then a prince came riding the horse. He saw a place deserted, looked like deserted. He tried to discover what it is. He removed. Then he realized it was a palace. Out of curiosity, he entered the palace. He roamed from room to room. He reached a room. Then he realized a woman, a beautiful princess, lay asleep. He went to her gently, kissed her on her lips. As soon as this happened, she woke up from this slumber. Something like that happens to you. It is not, spiritual development is not a causal journey. It is simply a recognition of something that you had forgotten, like the princess and the people in the area, they forgot that there was a palace, because the princess it was cursed that she will sleep for 100 years. So when she is sleeping 100 years, she defies the time. The time did not move. She remained young as it is. So you cross the time and space. There was a scientific play written by Henry Hinman. It was two twin brothers. They have formed a space company. Their objective was to travel from Earth to the different planets and move and explore and come. So it happened that one brother was staying on the Earth, and communication becomes easier in twins. The twins means there is something similarity. And so one brother goes, he spends 3-4 years in the space. When he returns on the earth nearly 80 years have passed. So when you go into an altered state of consciousness, time becomes still. So there are altered states of consciousness. When you are taken into that altered state of consciousness, you are beyond time and space. You do not age. Body may age, but inwardly there is no age. So that's how it continues. So whatsoever is happening and is difficult for us for the mind to understand, it can be explained if you have a versatility about that. Let us keep this up to here until this weekend. We meet again. Take care and do have a pleasant day.